on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi an amazing place to live, work, and play. Today is Election Day. We're going to come back to that in just a second. I want to share something that was posted by a friend of mine. His name is Mike Seal, and here's what he posted. This happened yesterday and is important information for our age group over 65. A friend had a second dose of the vaccine at the vaccination center, after which he began to have blurred vision on the way home. When he got home, he called the vaccination center for advice and to ask if he should go see a doctor or be hospitalized. He was not told to go to a doctor or to go to the hospital, but just to return to the vaccination center immediately and pick up his glasses. I was caught. I thought I was about to get a great piece of information, and then I realized it's just kind of a funny joke. So I thought that was pretty funny. Hey, listen, it's General Election Day. The Secretary of State's office says that polling places will be open today from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. tonight. So make your vote count. Here's a really important quote from John Quincy Adams. It says this: "Always vote for principle. Though you may vote alone, you will always cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote is never lost." Make your vote count. That's at the end of the day, that's what we need to do. So there's a non-binding referendum that's being voted on today in Diamondhead. It's about consolidating two major departments in the city. Essentially, the Fire District and the Water and Sewage District would be consolidated into the city operations, is what this referendum is all about. And we're going to talk more about it. There's a lot of conversation been about this over the last several months. And I have a disclaimer. It's Election Day. You wouldn't normally have a conversation like this on Election Day. So if this were a political candidate, for sure, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But in this case, the Fire District and the Water and Sewage District asked for this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and we weren't able to fit them in until today. Today was the first available date. And I should point out that the mayor of Diamondhead nor the city manager, neither one have requested that they join me on Coast Vue. So it is just the way it is, and we're going to have a conversation today with John Kirschenbaum, who's the chairman of the Board of Commissioners for the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District, and Mike Munger, the chief of the Diamondhead Fire District. So without any further ado, let me just welcome you both to Coast Vue. How are you doing today?
Great. Good morning.
So we're going to go through, what I really want to do is kind of frame the issue a little bit, and then we'll come back to some of the details. And but what I'd like to learn more about, and since we have a long format opportunity here, John, I want to get you to tell more about the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District, and then Mike, I want to also sort of tell your story. Where did you come from, and what is the Diamondhead Fire District, and we'll cover all that here shortly. And in a nutshell, John, why don't you kind of tell us what this non-binding referendum is all about?
Yes, sir. And we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. On March 26th, the City Council held a special called meeting at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon to add these two separate referendums, one for the water and sewer and one for the fire department. And we were completely taken aback and surprised. There had been no conversations with either of the entities in the city. And so it baffled us. These are two very critical services that are provided, and they're 24-hour a day, 7-day a week, 365-day a year services. And for something that critical to just be haphazardly thrown onto a ballot at the last minute just felt like a complete governmental overreach, and it was politically motivated. And there's just no reason that politics should be involved in services as critical as clean, safe drinking water, disposal and treatment of your sewage, and for God's sake, the fire department. I mean, this is just not a good place for politics to be making decisions.
So what's your take on sort of, we'll come back and understand more deeply what this means, but Mike, why don't you kind of give the headline from your perspective?
Exactly. Like John said, we were really surprised. There'd been talk early on, 3 or 4 years ago, of maybe continuing a discussion, but then at the last minute, without any real talks, without any plan, just at the last minute, the city council throws in this ballot referendum, and even the wording of it. They keep saying that this is just a way for the public to share their voice and to get a feel for how people think about it. But the way that it is worded on the ballot says, do you favor consolidation? That's a pretty black and white. That's not, hey, are you open to discussions about it? So even that doesn't feel right.
So we'll come back and get into some of the details as it relates to all of this. But why don't we start, John? Why don't you first of all tell us about the history of the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District?
Yes, sir. That's a great topic. Diamondhead Water and Sewer was not originally a public entity like it is now. It was originally built to service a neighborhood. Purcell, the developer of Diamondhead, had to lay the pipe and create what is now the Water and Sewer District. And as they were selling homes all over the place, they were having to lay pipe in the ground to get to different phases, different areas. And since it was private at the time, they used some substandard thin wall PVC pipes, some clay pipes, nothing illegal, but definitely not what we use in today's day and times, and not even the best materials that were available 50 years ago. And so what we've come up against is that the pipes in the ground are 50 years old and at the end of their life cycle. So we're at a very critical point where we're about to embark on a unbelievably aggressive capital improvement plan. And we're going to spend over $21 million in the next 5 years to address these issues. Purcell, when they went bankrupt in '87, the local POA took over the operations of the Water and Sewer District for a couple of years. And you can imagine how well that went. And at that time in 1989 is when legislative action was taken in Jackson to create the public entity that is now the Diamondhead Water and Sewer District. And we've been operating as a public entity ever since.
So if you go back in time, it's always interesting to sort of understand the impact of a community of growth and how popular a community has been. So Diamondhead's early story is of a community that really exploded. Then after Katrina, there's sort of this other explosion, and then more recently, even with the pandemic, you're seeing a lot of people from Louisiana that's interested in that area. What as you look at sort of where Diamondhead is today in terms of growth opportunity, in terms of the demand for that community, how do you characterize it?
I would quite simply call it right now, we're seeing hyper growth. I mean, we have hundreds upon hundreds of houses being built right now by a couple of different developers and by individuals. On a typical market, there's a little over 4,000 homes here in Diamondhead. And in a typical market, you'd see about 10% of those for sale. You would have, 400 roughly homes in a typical market. Right now, I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 houses available. It's incredible growth we're seeing right now, and a beautiful community. It's a horrible thing that it has been divided so harshly and violently during this last 9 weeks in which we've had to address these issues. So while it's a great place and we want to continue to see that growth and continue to see this thrive as it is, we have to do some things to make sure we're prepared. I mean, we have to develop a system that not only continues to serve the people that have been here for many years, but make sure that we can serve the new growth that's coming in as we speak.
So, John, how long have you been there?
I've lived here about 13 years, and I've served on the board for 3, 2 of those as the chairman.
Well, that's good. That's interesting. If I look back in the history of Diamondhead, it seems like there's always some conflict somewhere now that might be because a lot of smart people go there and have a lot of experience and they want to be engaged in the community. And anytime you get a community where a lot of educated folks and a lot of experienced folks in business and whatever, they tend to have their own point of view about the way things are going. So the way that I would see it is that it's really democracy in action. Democracy is not always the most pleasant thing in the world, but you're hearing people's voices, and naturally conflict could be part of that. But Diamond has always been a very dynamic community in that regard. As you look back, John, do you see it that way as well?
Yes, sir. We do see a lot of controversy. The city versus the POA has been around for a long time. The city is almost 10 years old now, so that's been a highly contested debate over and over. You bring in the idea of consolidation, and that's been a very heated topic as of recent. So yeah, there seems to be some controversy, but for the overall, the community is a tremendous place, and you're exactly right. We have a lot of smart people that live here. Let's
do this. We're coming to the end of this segment. We've got John Kirschenbaum, who's the chairman of the Board of Commissioners for Diamondhead Water and Sewage District, and Mike Munger, who's the chief of Diamondhead Fire District. And we're talking about a non-binding referendum that is on the ballot today. And we'll continue the conversation when we come back from break.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
His love for the coast is why he's here. It's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. As I mentioned during the first segment, we would not normally talk about an issue that's on a ballot the day of the election. In this case, it's not a candidate. It's a non-binding referendum having to do with the Fire District and the Water and Sewage District, two separate referendums regarding consolidating those into the city. And in this case, John Kirschenbaum and Chief Mike Munger had made a request like over a couple of weeks ago. And this was like the only first available time that we could have this conversation. And I should point out that the mayor nor the city manager made a similar request. So we certainly would have granted their opportunity to come on and talk to us if they had made that request. If this had been a candidate, we would not be having this conversation, but it's a couple of non-binding referendums that the community is very passionate about. And we wanted to grant this opportunity for them because they made the request. And that's why we're talking about it today. Hey, we went to break. John Kirschenbaum was talking about the evolution of the Water and Sewage District and the way that it has sort of reached to this point where, first of all, he referred to the growth that is taking place in Diamondhead today as being really, a nuclear growth. I don't know the exact word that you use, but the pressures on the Water and Sewage District are significant, not only to sort of facilitate future growth, but also the kind of infrastructure improvements that need to be made because a lot of the infrastructure just needs to be updated and upgraded and so on. So there's a lot there. Anything you want to add, John, before I move over to Mike?
No, you pretty much covered it. The key there is the critical nature of the capital improvement plan that we have to undertake. We have over 180 miles of pipe in the ground, 90 miles of sewer pipe and 90 miles of water pipe. And at the end of its useful life, we've got to start attacking these areas that we're seeing multiple breaks in. And in addition, we've had some pressure and flow issues that have been highlighted and brought to our attention over the last year. And so we had to jump into immediate action to figure out how to fix those. And unfortunately, the fix is we're going to have to install a new second water tower. The engineering on that is already in place. We hope to break ground before the end of the year because it's so important. So with that history, and we sized the water tower, we knew we had to have a water tower in order to fix some of the issues we have right now. But in looking forward, the city has an Envision 2040 plan that has a 20-year plan of what we envision the community becoming. And so we've created this water tower to where it's going to take us all the way through that 2040 plan. So we've got a plan in place. It's working, and we need to be left alone and allowed to do it.
Okay, so let's turn over to you, Mike Munger, the chief of the Diamondhead Fire District. So let's start, Mike, where do you come from? How long have you been in Diamondhead?
So I've actually lived here 40 years. My dad was Navy, came down in 1980. So I've lived here most of my life. And
wow.
It's my community. I grew up here. I love the town.
So have you been involved as a first responder for most of your career?
Yes. Right out of high school, I started working on the golf course out here, golf course maintenance. Shortly after that, I started here as a firefighter in 1994 as a volunteer, and I've worked here full time since '96, so 25 years with this department.
That's amazing. By the way, I'm a former paramedic. I went to the University of Alabama in Birmingham, was in pre-med for a while, and had a dream of becoming an emergency room physician. And for a lot of reasons, I decided to change my career and ended up going to get my MBA, and the rest is history. But I have a deep affection for first responders in the community and the role that you play. As you can imagine, working as an advanced paramedic, which I became, I got to see a lot of what you see on a daily basis, and I know what that involves. And in your case, you've seen a lot of change over these years, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. I think when we moved here in 1980, there were about 900 residents. We were operating under the Purcell Corporation. And then I guess it was somewhere around 1985 when the POA was created. We started getting community involvement in how things were run. So, yeah, it's changed a lot. I think we're close to 9,000 residents right now. It's amazing how much it's grown over the years. And we're really trying to stay focused on the service to the community. That's what the fire district's 100% interested in is making sure that the city gets the best service they can get.
So, you think about first responders, as particularly as it relates to fire, you think about insurance ratings, you think about training, you think about infrastructure too, a lot, I bet. Where is the fire district today? Describe sort of the situation that you manage today.
So today we have 3 shifts of 5 firefighters on each shift. We have administrative staff of 4 of us in total. We're a town class 5 fire rating, which is the same as Bay St. Louis and Waveland. I think we might be the only fire district in the state that's a town class 5. I'm not 100%, but I know we're one of the few, if not the only. We have 2 stations now. We've grown a lot from when I started 25 years ago with 1 station and 2 people on per shift. And we're continuing to focus on the growth of the community. We've added additional personnel on nights and weekends, and we're planning on adding a 6th person per shift starting in October. So we are planning for growth. We have been, and we want to make sure that continues as we go forward.
So you guys, you've worked really hard to build this excellent fire team. Do you have EMTs on your staff as well?
We do, and probably a larger percentage than other comparable cities. I think we're somewhere around 80% of our staff are EMTs, and obviously in a community like this, majority of our calls are medical in nature, so it is important. It's not something that's required by the state, but we really feel that's what our city needs. So that's something we provide.
It's an incredible service when you think about, you don't have your own hospital, so you have to transport to other places, and the fact you have EMT trained first responders is a real benefit to the community. And I think about how it must have been for you to manage during the pandemic. And from the moment we've talked about many times on the show, from the moment early on when contracting COVID was nearly a death sentence, to us really understanding what it is all about and how to manage within it, it becomes part of your standard operating procedure after a while. But as you look back, what do you think about the most as it relates to operating in the pandemic?
Staffing. We started early on to try and minimize the exposure on COVID. By the first thing we did is we changed our personnel from working a 24-hour shift and 48 hours off. We switched them to working 48 hours on and 96 off, just to slow the rotation of people to minimize the exposure. We had to cut out some of the less or more mundane medical calls that we would typically go on before. So if somebody called with an upset stomach or stubbed toe, we would tend to pass on those, and just trying to limit exposure as much as possible. But even with that, people being people, they found ways to get exposed. So we would have the opportunity to employ some of our part-time people to fill in. And that's something we do. We do maintain 5 people all the time. So if someone takes off, if somebody's sick, if somebody has COVID and they're out quarantined, we do have a good roster of part-time trained personnel to come in and backfill. But that was the challenge. Keeping staffing levels up during that was definitely a challenge.
It's amazing that over a year has passed, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You're not the same, Chief Mike Munger that you were going into the pandemic. You had, again, we've been tested in coastal Mississippi, as you've seen so many times during your life, with so many challenges that have reminded us why we're so resilient. But I bet you look back at your team now and think how lucky you are to have them and how much more resilient you are than you were a year ago.
Absolutely. And we have some great personnel. I'm very thankful for the people we have. I consider myself blessed. So yeah, you're 100% correct. We have seen the best out of people in the last year.
And John, same with you. I mean, how many employees are part of the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District?
We run pretty lean, believe it or not. We've got 22 employees, and we are one of the longest tenured staffs of any district our size throughout the state. We have a great deal of long-term employees. Our general manager has been with the district for over 16 years and has over 20 years experience in the industry prior to that. And he has had the last 3 years as our GM, and we are very lucky to have him.
Well, that's terrific. Hey, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with John Kirschenbaum, who's the chairman of the Board of Commissioners of the Diamondhead Water and Sewer District, and then Chief Mike Munger, who is with the Diamondhead Fire District. And we're talking about the non-binding referendum on the two of them on the ballot today. We'll come back and we'll continue the conversation after this.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and,
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
in a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On Super Talk, Mississippi. Whether you're brand new to the DIY craze or a seasoned veteran, the Handyman Show has something for you. Buddy Slowick shares tips and tricks on everything from odd jobs to complete build-outs, from small home repairs to serious construction. So no matter if you're at the master carpenter level or not quite sure how to use a level, the Handyman Show answers your questions with a healthy dose of humor and some great music too. Saturdays, 10 to noon on Super Talk Mississippi and on Super Talk TV. Super Talk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. One of the benefits of Coast Vue is you get this opportunity to get educated on what's happening around the community. I love talking to first responders, people who are involved in utilities and all across the coast, because within each of those organizations, you're always going to find incredible stories, especially coming out of the pandemic, especially here in coastal Mississippi with all the challenges we've had over many years, not the least of which obviously is Hurricane Katrina. Today, though, within the context of a conversation about a non-binding referendum, which is much debated in Diamondhead, I wanted to sort of take it beyond those referendums and hear a little bit more about what's happening inside the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District. I wanted to understand how they operate, what are their challenges, where are they going in the future. Same thing for the Diamondhead Fire District. I wanted to understand that better. So while you're going to learn something about the referendum that's out there, I wanted you to leave you with some lasting impressions about what it takes to run a community like Diamondhead. So we get to kill two birds with one stone, or in this case, maybe three birds with one stone. So let's come back to John for a second. John, when we went to break, Chief Munger and I were talking about the challenges of operating in the pandemic and all of that. And you were mentioning actually that you have been able to keep the core of your employment together. You have a long-standing general manager, and the core of your employees has been there for many years, like longest tenured in the state, I think you said. That is actually a real benefit to an organization like yours. And as you well know, a lot of people coming out of the pandemic can't say that. They've had a lot of turnover, a lot of difficulty finding employees and whatever. So why don't you talk about how you've been able to keep your team intact, and also what has it been like to operate a water and sewage district during the pandemic?
Yes, sir. We're blessed to be able to keep our core group together through the pandemic. As mentioned earlier, critical services like water and sewer have to continue to work regardless of a pandemic or not. People still want to turn their water on and get clean, safe drinking water out of that tap. They still want to be able to hit that button and watch the gray water go away. So we have to perform. We had to continue to operate. We had to do our testing, and we had to keep doing the things we have to do every day to stay in line with the EPA, the DEQ, DMR. I mean, we're one of the most watched entities in any governmental entity. So to keep those guys going, and we are blessed to have, like I say, long-term employees, over 12 years, the majority of them, and some more than that. So yeah, we have a great team. The left hand knows what the right hand's doing. They do their jobs well. They work safely because they're long-term. They know how and what. And we're very technically certified. We have 7 certified water operators in our district. That's a lot, and we take it seriously. We really want to keep those guys educated, continually updated their certificates, and once again, we're just blessed to have a great staff. So what motivates you as chairman of the Board of Commissioners to do what you do and to have as much passion for what you do? I felt it was a way for me to give back to my community. I mean, obviously, we're not in it for the money. The commissioners get a whopping $84 a month for this opportunity. But when I got involved, I thought I could bring a skill set. I've got over a 30-year career of executing engineering and construction management. And they had some challenges in front of them with the capital improvement plan. So I thought I brought a skill set to the table that I could help my community in highlighting these jobs that have to be done, implementing them and getting them engineered and executed. And I've been lucky to meet some great people and serve with some other great commissioners in this community. So if you look across the Board of Commissioners that's there today, are you guys in unison in what you would like the future to be as it relates to the Water and Sewage District, or are there different voices as it relates to that? Absolutely not. We are 100% in unison as a board. And we have some great board members. Commissioner Ben Taylor brings a great deal of business savvy to the table. Commissioner Bone is a person that comes from a nuclear background and project implementation as well. My engineering and design skill set. And then we just recently added Commissioner Brian Griffith, who is 33 years with the EPA. If he's forgotten more than anybody I know will know about water and sewer districts, and he has been an absolute treasure and a true gem to be added to our board. So, okay, so let's talk about the referendum in general for a second. So, as you pointed out, this whole referendum process came about and was a big surprise to you. If it had included you guys and you had developed a vision together, is it something you would that you would consider, or are you just, first of all, you're opposed to the process the way that this all came about? That's clear. But also, even if you had been included, you don't see the benefits of changing the public entity that you are today and doing consolidation with the city. Kind of tell me where you stand on that. Happy to. Obviously, we're running a vote no education. We're trying to get the public to understand that they need to vote no. We are in no way, shape, or form opposed to going and talking to the city about the possibility of consolidation. I think if you got the right players at the table and you had a committee created that had some people from the Water and Sewer District, some people from the Fire Department, some city officials, and even brought in some outside experts to look at this and decide if it is even the right thing to do, then good things could come out for this community. But to just haphazardly throw it on a ballot without any of those things being done is absolutely not good. It was bad information that was thrown out by the city in a financial report that was done, paid for by the city CPA, with antiquated data that led to bad assumptions and therefore bad recommendations. They tout some cost savings, but we've done a number of educational series and town halls, and I think we've debunked the fact that there's any savings at all. There's absolutely no savings to be had, and you're putting at risk services that are critical. And we can't have our long-term employees evaporating on us because of bad information and bad decisions being made. That's a strong case for sure. It just seems that having some kind of strategic vision that you would be together on would be a good place to start. It seems a referendum without those conversations
makes you wonder why that's happening in that way. But so Mike, coming over to you, as you think about sort of how this is all unfolded, what's your overall position, and what are you thinking about?
Well, I think you can certainly see a possible vision in the future where services are consolidated. I'm not totally opposed to that. The problem is now the process was done completely wrong. This is, as John has said, this is critical services that can't be interrupted. So that means you need a good plan in place before you bring it to the voters. Now, I definitely think we've all seen where politicians can have bad influence on services. So I think if you're looking long term in how things get consolidated, you need a good plan that gives some separation or gives safeguards to the community that you won't have political interference in something as critical as clean water and fire and life safety interests. So I'm not sure exactly how that looks, but you probably remember we've seen Gulfport closing fire stations because they had budget problems. We saw Waveland having to lay off firefighters for a period of time because they were having budget problems. And I don't want to see that type of problem in the future in Diamondhead. So right now, the residents, every penny they pay for fire protection goes to fire protection. And we can assure that happens. If it is moved over to the city without some sort of safeguards put in place, I don't think you can assure the citizens are going to have that in the future.
Yeah, that seems like a reasonable point of view. So, John, what are you hearing in the community about this?
That it was handled badly. It reflects poorly on our community that the city voted on that Friday afternoon at 3:00 with little or no notice to the public and absolutely no notice to the two entities involved. It just reflects badly on our community that they went to the nuclear option before they did some research and had their ducks in a row.
We'll go to break now. We'll come back for the final segment of Coast Vue and continue our conversation with Chairman John Kirschenbaum, who's with the Board of Commissioners for the Diamondhead Water and Sewer District, and Chief Mike Munger with the Diamondhead Fire District. We'll see you after this break.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera flips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, casinoradio1063.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. We're having a conversation with John Kirschenbaum, who's the chairman of the Board of Commissioners for the Diamondhead Water and Sewage District, and Chief Mike Munger from the Diamondhead Fire District. And we're talking about the referendums that are part of the general election today. And as I've said already, but I'll say it again, if this were a candidate, we would not be having this conversation on election day. They actually came to us more than a couple of weeks ago. This was the first time segment we could get. It happens to fall on election day. And I should also point out that the mayor nor the general manager has reached back out to us to be on the show. So certainly if they had come to us, we would certainly opened up an opportunity for them to join us today. So John, what I'm curious about is where did this come from? Because you say it came from left field. What's behind this? How did this happen?
Well, once again, we can't say for sure why or how this happened, but the driving force behind it seems to be our mayor. And our mayor has really pushed this really hard. And she has some history with the Water and Sewer District. She was the acting interim general manager for over 2.5 years. And during her tenure, the infrastructure issues that we're dealing with right now were ignored. It's not that they didn't do anything, because they were in Katrina recovery and built a wastewater treatment facility and had a lot of things going on, but they didn't handle the infrastructure issues. And then one key was during her tenure, she actually lowered water and sewer rates during the middle of an election when she was running for her Ward 1 seat. That was unheard of and should have never happened. That's how politics get involved. And so when she lowered that rate, that cost the district over $6.5 million in revenue over the last few years. And it's just something that you can't ignore when you're asked why.
Mm-hmm. So your bottom line is when you write your commentaries about this are to do what?
Well, the only thing that is right for the future of Diamondhead is to vote no on consolidation today. History has showed us that politics do not belong in these critical services, and having to compete with other things, dog parks, city hall remodels, versus pipe that's underground that nobody can see. It's fun to be able to point at something and say, I did that, and that's great. But you can't ignore what you can't see, and that's what's happened over the history of the Water and Sewer District, and we can't allow it to continue. So we have to finish what we've started, and the only way we can do that is to get the no vote out there today.
Yeah, you, Chief Munger, you mentioned this a minute ago, but you like the fact that every dime spent on fire district stays in the fire district, and it concerns you about the melding of the budgets, et cetera. What else bothers you about the possibilities going forward?
Well, the big issue for the firefighters is the public employee retirement system, the state retirement. When the city incorporated, they chose not to participate in that system. So a lot of the driving force of this referendum on the fire side is that the city's claiming savings, and that's savings. Most of that savings is seen through removing that benefit from the firefighters. And you just can't compete with pay and benefits and recruit and retain personnel if you don't have that benefit. So it would be a huge disservice to the city to remove that. And maybe at some point in the future, when the city grows and has the right plan in place, maybe it makes sense. But as John said, for right now, we absolutely need to vote no.
So, John, let me ask you a question. Let's say that the citizens vote for consolidation. Is it a fait accompli then, or is it still something that could not happen?
Well, that's the true problem here is the city has no logistical plan of execution on this. They don't have a timeline defined. They don't know how they're going to do it. They have no plan in place. So for people to vote yes, it would be misleading. It would be wrong. With no plan in place to execute, you can't let them have the mandate that they're trying to carry and say, oh, the people have spoken. You have to do what we're telling you to do. This is important, and we can't ignore it. We've got to get people out and vote today.
Mike, closing argument from you.
Well, I think we've all seen where politicians can make a mess of things. I certainly want the citizens to have their voice, but there's a way to do it, and I don't think this is the right way.
So people are going out to vote today as we speak, and they'll face these non-binding referendums on their ballot. They have until 7 o'clock tonight to vote. And listen, John Kirschenbaum and Mike Munger, thank you very much for coming in and joining me. And thank you for enabling me to kind of stir the conversation somewhat away from the referendum temporarily so people could get a greater appreciation for what you do, your passion for your work, and how you view the future. And I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish we could have done this a week ago, but unfortunately, the calendar did not enable it. I gave you the first full slot. It happened to be on Election Day. Sorry about that, but at least you got a chance to make your argument. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook, facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.